Alright. What's up, hooligans? Jay Hooligan here.
Hooligan V.
And welcome to another edition of Live Lunch. Sorry, that's trying to finish my lunch. We're back outside again. It's a beautiful day. It's quite warm. If you're like me, then your allergies are killing you. So if I'm sniffling throughout this...
And if you're like me, you're fine.
Yeah. If I'm sniffling a lot through this, it's not from the Rona. It's literally my allergies just causing all this stuff to happen to me. Which it's been terrible the past couple weeks now. Jeez. But off and on. Anyways, so before we get started, if you like the videos that we put out here or want to support us, head on over or hit the subscribe button down below. Like this video, and you can also support us at our Patreon, patreon.com/HideHooliganFilms, or buy any one of our RPG IRL shirts. This is an RPG IRL shirt, one of them that we have of many, and that's at thewanderingkillsman.com/shop. Alright, so today,
Our topic.
yes, if you don't know what Dysphemism is, that's okay, because I didn't know for a while, and it's because I ended up posting up something. Okay, let's start from the beginning. All right, there's this whole thing that happened with what's her name, Heidi Hate Camp. It seems a very appropriate
It was
name.
from the Bill.
This is from Bill Maher. Yeah, it's from the Bill Maher show, and she was discussing Gina Carano, and she ended up pretty much just flat out calling her. I guess we can get flagged if we say it. But it rhymes with Yahtzee. Moxie. Yeah. It rhymes with that. She straight up called her that, even though what she posted, you just whipped me with your hair, dude.
My bad.
And it was literally calling out something where she wasn't calling anybody that. She was just saying, be careful of certain mentalities and ideologies that are about, because it could be reminiscent of during that time. But she's just flat out calling her a moxie.
A moxie.
Yeah, a moxie, if you want to call it that. Or a white, what's a supreme being is what she was calling her. Just flat out slander. That is blatant and open slander. And she even says, "Oh, I guess I don't know if I'm grounds for defamation." It was like, yes, you are. That's not true. There is no evidence for that. So, yeah, you are down for defamation.
I bet your lawyer choked on water when he
Yeah,
saw that.
Right? Like, whoever's repping you. I mean, and this is a former senator. Like, dude, hate camp. That's what I'm calling her. Heidi Hate Camp. That seems appropriate for the type of rhetoric that she's trying to spread, especially about a freaking actress. You know, it's so dumb. Anyways, but that got me thinking, because I ended up posting something on Twitter the other day, and I was like, euphemism is the language of politics, and I was only half right, because after I started looking into that, there's something called dysphemism, and if you haven't guessed, well, let's just go into, so I can show you guys.
Can you explain what euphemism is again?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna explain.
I'm gonna put this over here. So euphemism, if you don't know what a euphemism is the substitution of an aggressive or inoffensive expression for one that may offend or suggest something unpleasant. So what that means, it's kind of like the softening of language. There's a really great bit that George Carlin does about euphemistic language, and about all these euphemisms being thrown around. For example, say like people are afraid to say like, oh, they died, so they have substituted that for passed away, you know. Or what's another one? Like, you can't say secretary anymore because it's sexist or something
What
like
is
that.
it, Oriental?
It's well, hold on, I ain't even there. It's like,
Is that
no, hold on. But yeah, like that's one too. Like, now you must say Asian or Asian American, or you can't say from the Orient, even though I'm Oriental. I don't care. It's the dumbest thing ever. You know, it doesn't matter. It's just words, guys. But secretary is now an executive assistant. So where words
is it?
start.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where it came from. I mean, the idea of
Can't call somebody a
changing
secretary?
words, huh?
It's a job title.
Yeah, but that's the whole idea, is still changing words to soften the blow because of any sort of connotative associations that come with that word. Those kind of play into it, and where it's like, oh, I'm not a secretary, I'm an executive assistant. So it's literally the way to soften a blow for that. Now, if you want to talk about the political landscape, which is kind of where a lot of this is still stemming from, and how it affects the film industry, because again, Gina Carano is an actress, who posts whatever she wants, just like every other actor and actress out there.
You mean she has opinions as a individual human being?
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, it's crazy. It's like, it doesn't make her a fair-skinned supreme being, or a
every time
Marxist.
you keep saying Supreme, I keep thinking Burrito Supreme, and I'm like, is that racist?
It's a Burrito Supreme. Gina Carano, you are the Burrito Supreme. It's like, was it flour tortilla?
The flour
Burrito
tortilla,
Supreme.
it's white.
Yeah.
She's not even white.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, that's part of it anyway. But just an example of it. Somebody pointed out, it was like during Obama's administration, it was it like the detention center for kids or something, like the children's detention center at the border, and then once Trump came into office, it was kids in cages, and then it switched back once Biden's like, oh, it's what do they call it?
Gumball machine full of kids. Sorry, that was sitting there for a minute.
It was sitting there for a minute, but it's essentially like the euphemistic side of that would be essentially the idea of, because those cages were installed under Obama's administration. You can look that up; it's pretty easily found. But yeah, like that's between the Obama administration and the Biden administration. That euphemistic type language, that's where it came from. So then you get into something which, if you haven't guessed it yet, is the antonym of euphemism, and that is dysphemism, which is our topic for today. So dysphemism is the substitution of a disagreeable, offensive, or disparaging expression for an agreeable or inoffensive one. So, what that means... how's the disagreeable expression for an agreeable or an offensive one? It's... Oh, hold on. Let me go back real quick. Because euphemism was substitution of an agreeable or inoffensive expression. Oh, for one that... I was incorrect. I had them backwards for a sec there. So euphemism... Yeah, I was correct. So euphemism is the substitution of an agreeable or an offensive expression for one that may... Nope. Sorry, guys. Substitution of a disagreeable, offensive, or disparaging expression for an agreeable or inoffensive one. Nope. Okay. I got a little confused there for a sec. But it is essentially the antonym of a euphemism, right? It is that dumbing down of language to where it's like, okay, guys, it's not as seriously as we call it. It's a child detention center, for that. It's not as it's facility. It's a facility. Sorry, not a center. It's a facility, right? And isn't that the same thing then? Hold on, I don't get it confused again. Euphemism, substitution of an agreeable or inoffensive expression for one that may offend or... Okay, so I think that's where my confusion was, because typically the euphemistic language kind of encases dysphemism. So, to be clear, euphemism is the substitution of an agreeable or inoffensive expression for one that may suggest or may offend or suggest something unpleasant. So it's actually the opposite. So George Carlin, he was more talking about dysphemism when he's talking about, like, oh, instead of saying you die, you pass away, that's dysphemism. Euphemism is actually something to suggest something unpleasant, right? So that would be essentially calling Gina Carano a moxie. Is this essentially what it was? A Yahtzee! But so that would be a euphemism. So that is one side of the coin. The other side, again, is dysphemism, which is essentially trying to make it seem like it's all not that bad. So that's the idea of what we're talking about with the children's detention centers and detention facility, or whatever they're calling it, or whatever all that situation is down at the border. They're essentially calling it, things that aren't going to offend you, so it lowers your guard, right? That's the whole idea of, like, you're not a secretary, which is, the stereotype for that being, when you picture a secretary, it must be, the old stereotype is it must be a woman.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have a male secretary. That doesn't make sense. Those are old stereotypes, right? But changing it to executive assistant now. You're not a secretary. You're an executive assistant. That's dysphemism, and that type of language. It is definitely prevalent today. It's actually prevalent along with euphemism, and so I technically I was correct. The whole idea of the political talking points are essentially euphemistic BS is how I put it on Twitter, and it's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, on the flip side of it, there's also this idea of dysphemistic language, right? How to dumb it down so it's not so offensive, it's not so disagreeable. It's oh man, what did I say? I forget what I called it. I know what I called it. Where somebody was talking about firearms. It's like, they're not firearms. They're projectile accelerators. That's what it is. Micro projectile accelerators. That's a dysphemistic example. Trying to take something that has a negative connotation to it, for it, and putting it to a more positive light by changing how it's described. Mm-hmm. That's dysphemism.
Like more flattering words.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And you could definitely see it. So euphemistic and dysphemistic language is definitely the back and forth of it. It's very much part of our political landscape and has essentially become part of our culture. You can thank the mainstream media for that, because that's essentially like all of what they do. And I see it.
What?
It's like, I see it. Hold on. That guy can go away. It's like,
did you kill it?
No, I didn't kill it.
It's huge.
It's not even that big. It's like itty bitty. You'll give me that. Yeah. Anyway, so the idea of euphemistic language being used as descriptors for opponents, and then dysphemistic language used to create a sense of equality or ease. That's most definitely part of the political landscape. And again, this kind of came back because this whole thing you would think after so long this whole thing with Gina Carano would die down, but nope. This Senator Miss Hatekamp, and I don't care if I'm pronouncing her name wrong or not. She's the one that brought it back. I think Bill Maher technically brought it back, but
you mean the white lady? Really
lady. The white lady calling the non-white lady a burrito supreme is what we're calling it now. Yeah, burrito supreme.
And a moxie.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to tell you before. So moxie, it always it's like a forceful type character. It's supposed to be like, I think they mentioned it on like Night at the Museum 2. Was it 2 or 3? I forget how many of those
things they made. Movies.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, moxie, yes, she's got moxie. But it reminds me of there was this episode from Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, and if you guys never seen that, it's an old. I think did that come out in the late '80s, early '90s? I think it might have been '90s, and it's Chippendale from the Disney cartoon characters, and there was a villain called Fat Cat. He's supposed to be like a mafia boss or mob boss, and he kidnaps Gadget, who's the little mouse engineer, and he's like, "You've got spunk," which is essentially like you got moxie, and she's like, "Thanks," and he's like, "I hate spunk." So it always reminds me of that when you say moxie. The other part is it was Amy Adams that was in Night at the Museum, where she talks about moxie. Yes, moxie. Oh. But yes, it rhymes with moxie, or more appropriately, it rhymes with Yahtzee.
It has to do with Cattler. What was the thing that
Kittler. Okay.
Kittler.
Kittler. Oh,
the weather lady.
The weather lady. It's Saturday.
Like,
I apologize. I'm like,
Hitler.
it was literally a cat that has little black fur
spot or something.
Yeah, above its lip. I'm like, it's literally just random genetics. I think
too soon.
Yeah,
Almost
too soon.
Years?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so yeah, it literally came back to the film industry because this former senator decided to essentially call Gina Carano a Yapsy.
And a burrito supreme.
And a burrito supreme, which is a fair-skinned, what did I get? White supreme being. So burrito supreme is what we're calling it. Yeah, and she brought it back. And again, it was already died down, and it's like, why are these people still talking about it? That's absolutely ridiculous. And I think somebody pointed out, I forget who it was on. I think it was on YetiCast or something, where they're talking about, like, she probably knows zero about it. She got the cliff notes from maybe her executive assistant. To just like, this is what it's about, this is what it is, and she probably has no idea what it is, or has any sort of formulation of of an opinion that is based in like a non-woke mentality, I guess you can kind of say. So and the other part of it is, again, I think it's just mentioned on that same podcast or webcast, was that she probably did it just to have people talk about it, to make her relevant. It's the same as what Kathy Griffin did with the whole stunt where she cut off Trump's head. Which, again, I will always go back to Jim Carrey on that, because used to respect the dude, until that moment. Because if you don't know what happened with Jim Carrey, the whole if you do remember what happened with Kathy Griffin, where she did the whole stunt, the photo op with her cutting off Trump's head, which is literal violence. It's a violent piece of art, is how she was trying to say it. But actors like Jim Carrey, who are political hacks, or have revealed themselves to be political hacks, he actually said, "Oh, well, we're artists or we're comedians. We need to push the limit," which would have been fine if everyone seemed to forget, because I didn't forget, when Sandy Hook happened, and he was under contract, paid millions of dollars to do PR for the movie Kick-Ass 2, which he was a part of. And he said, because that was the time for that Sandy Hook happened, he literally said, "You know what, I cannot in good conscience," at every PR event, so he did the PR, but not really. He's like, "I cannot in good conscience promote this film, even if it portrays fictional violence, fictional gun violence."
Basically backing out of his contract. And reneging on it, and he still got paid. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, again, I didn't forget it. Everyone else forgot, because a lot of people have short memories when it comes to that stuff. But I was like, okay, hey, if that's your stance, the first time I heard that, if that's your stance, great. I still had respect for him. You're going to respectfully bow out, fine. And then this happened with Kathy Griffin, and he came out and defended her. Well, we're artists and we're comedians. We got to push the limit. And I was like, dude, seriously? Like, oh, okay, so you are a political hack. That's the exact same thing. And strike 3 again, or technically the first one wasn't a strike until strike 2 came in. Strike 3 was at the end of January or beginning of February. He goes, guys, I'm gonna stop doing my my political cartoons, because I think it's really toxic, and it's time for me to let go and go back to being wholesome. And what I was like, dude, really? This kind of goes back to Scarlett Johansson. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really, really happy to hear that at least somebody else is speaking out against this.
Well, she's been through a lot.
She has been through a lot. But she had mentioned she was saying, and we've mentioned it before too, like, the actor's job is to act, not to be politicians. But they're still used as mouthpieces for them.
Like Disney's rule about the that they're required to attend fundraisers or something like that. And
technically, that's Marvel.
Was that Marvel?
It's Marvel's contracts.
What was Disney's? It was the being in character, right? Was it being in character?
Yeah, well, it's technically around the same thing.
Well, they own Marvel, right?
Yeah, they do. Oh,
Disney
yeah.
Disney owns Marvel. So essentially, what actors are required by contract, especially in the Marvel universe, is they have to portray their characters, their heroes, superheroes, in real life. Like they have to have that sort of integrity and that sort of persona out in the open so they can promote it and people can believe in them. And I was like, oh, so you're literally pushing the lines by contract to force them to essentially blur the lines between fiction and reality. I'm like, man, and you wonder why people call it like, oh, what's the narrative? What's the narrative being pushed right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, absolutely. You know, it's ridiculous to think about, but it's true. It's absolutely happening right now. And then you get things like euphemistic language and dysphemistic language. But again, review this again. Dysphemism is what? The substitution of a disagreeable, offensive, or disparaging expression for an agreeable or inoffensive one. So if you've read the description on social media that we put up here, we're writers. As writers, we love language. If you're a writer and you don't love language and how it's utilized and learning new words and stuff like that, like you might be in the wrong profession. Like the writing is all about communication through the written word, right?
I think writing's also about like pulling feelings, right? You want your reader to be able to
to connect.
To connect and to be able to relate to the story, right?
So when you're talking about film or fiction, yes. And a lot of people like to elicit that into the political landscape through speeches, through speeches or through documentary or anything like that. Anything that is supposed to be like cinema verite, you know, which is fine. But and I think I mentioned this before, where I believe that politicians do and should, because that's how it connects to people, is elicit some sort of emotional response, right? They should elicit an emotional response to gain following, and then it's falling everywhere, and then but when they get down to business of what they do in office, they need to step out of that. They need to step out of that emotional, like, lower brain functionality and start talking to people like people, right? They need to, that's like a business deal, okay? When we do business deals, when you're trying to sell a story, depending on who you're, jeez, man, I know it's back. When you try to do a business deal with selling your story, you want to sell the emotion. You want to sell what connects. You want to sell what's hot, right? Or like that Hansel's so hot right now. You know, like you want it to be something that's appealing to them emotionally, right?
That's why they say know your investor.
Yeah, know your investor, right? It's different than when you're trying to talk to somebody about the books, right? That's business. With the books, it's just straight numbers, right? When you talk to an accountant, they're very technical. It's like it's almost like it's black or white. The numbers are there or they're not, right? There's no trying to sway them per se on that. And everything from our legal system to our politicians to everything, and even going into corporations or even the studios and how they run, they shouldn't be running their business side like that. Like, or they should be running it where it is like less emotionally tied down, I guess you can kind of say, right? You want to elicit those in your stories and in your work. At the same time, you want to be as fair and as diplomatic as possible in the workplace. That's just how it goes. This is why the whole idea of woke, like, language and buzzwords is extremely dangerous to propagate along not just through our political landscape, not just through our hiring processes or in our work, but through our cultural institutions as well. Like through our education system, through the films we make, through our hiring processes. Like, dude, euphemism and dysphemism, they use that constantly. It's constant, right? So whenever they're talking about themselves, that's where dysphemism comes in, and that's why I think I wanted to put it like this, because I think not many people know what dysphemism is. Because I didn't know.
It was a new word for both of us.
Yep.
That we found.
Because most people talk about euphemism. You know, and like I said, that's the political groundwork for, or the what I say it was the bound, no the bane or the groundwork for political commentary. I think that's how I put it. Is euphemistic BS is the is the groundwork for or the foundation. Ooh, wind's picking up. Is the foundation of political commentary, which is absolutely true. Oh man, I hope the wind isn't killing
the
audio. We'll apologize if it is.
It was fine. Just a minute
Yeah, it was
ago.
just fine, and then it's like no gust of wind.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels nice.
It does feel nice because it's supposed to be what?
Just not nice to the camera.
Yeah, it's not gonna be nice to my allergies.
At least be like high 70s.
Okay, it's a beautiful
like
day out today.
Yeah.
It's still nice out. The breeze does feel nice.
There it goes.
Anyways, but euphemistic and dysphemistic language. Anyway, but just kind of going back to my point, like especially if you're a writer, you know, for this, like understanding human psychology, understanding semantics and language, understanding the purpose of it all, that's going to help you be a better writer. Understanding the meanings of words or how people use words, like that's what we do as writers, is to understand how those words can elicit some sort of emotion. You know, when you do it purposefully. As audience members, you know, this is why I'm not going to hold for plane. This is why, you know, film and entertainment is a form of escapism. You know, it's really noisy over here. It's a form of escapism. You know, we do that to escape our daily lives and the daily stresses and all the stuff that's going on in the political landscape, to give us a break, right? At the same time, you know, even though I believe that politicians do have, you know, that use or can rightfully use emotion, you know, elicit emotions to gain a following, you know, there's that line between fiction and reality that still must exist. That's why I like what Scarlett Johansson said about, you know, actors' jobs are to act, not to be politicians. And I think it's horrible that they're being used as mouthpieces for politicians in very illicit ways. Right? What were some of the things that they were saying? It was like Madonna was talking about when Trump was in office. I thought an awful lot about blowing up, you know, the house of that burrito supreme. You know,
I thought it was Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp had actually said, and again, just lost respect, because it's like, I feel for you what's happening with Amber Heard, but sit down and shut up, bro. He was like, when was the last time an actor killed a president? I'm like, are you dumb, dude? Don't be stupid. Sit down and shut up. Like, don't be dumb.
When would be the last time an actor went to jail?
Yeah, when was the last time an actor went to jail?
Which one?
Yeah.
Let me make a list.
Yeah, or how many times have those actors gotten out of jail?
And they've gone back into jail.
Stop it!
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean out?
Yeah, out.
Yeah.
I mean, there are what is being talked about still. I heard it was Armie Hammer. He just got released from a movie, $1 Billion Spy, because of accusations of sexual assault. So that at least they're keeping up on that, you know. So I'm at least happy that the whole Me Too era and the Time's Up era is still, you know, they're still pushing for that. However, so far it's still just accusations, but he was already let go of the project. So until, again, I still believe in due process. I still believe that you're innocent until proven guilty. Allegations are one thing, but how many times have allegations proven like, oh, they're just fake or false, or they're false flags out there to essentially you virtue signal the audience, you and us and everybody, on these things because it's sensationalism, right? Entertainment. It is literally entertainment. The news, the mainstream media, is sensationalism. It is a form of entertainment. And again, if you understand language or how it elicits emotion and what it does, it's really easy to see. You just got to be looking for it. Most of the time, you're missing a lot of stuff. Everybody misses a lot of stuff because they're not looking for it. It's not on the forefront of their mind, right? This is why I talk a lot about being the best version of yourself through mindfulness, being mindful of your actions, being mindful of your environments, what you allow, what you disallow, how you approach, how you interact.
Ooh.
Another guest. Ugh. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna have to block my nose. But yeah, just understanding those parts of yourself, you start to understand other people as well, right? At least that's how I see it. Or vice versa. Sometimes when you notice it in other people, you can start being able to recognize or even question. And that's the thing. A lot of people will project and be like, that person there is this, but it's actually themselves that do the same thing. And they forget, people are human, for one. They're fallible. They make mistakes, and you can still come back from that. This whole idea of infallibility, like the whole Marvel contract, you can't do wrong while you're out in public. You can't do, in the public eye, you must be this person. Like, wow, excuse me if you have opinions or feelings, or nope, irrelevant, you're under contract.
Which is really dumb.
Yep, absolutely, it's really
Nobody
dumb.
should be under contract like that.
No, they shouldn't. And again, what's dumb is, even though a lot of these actors are literally being used as political mouthpieces, you still have people in government that use sensationalism the same way. That they
Could you imagine, thinking about it? You're going to your 9 to 5, just a regular job, right? You're a regular employee, and they say you have to follow this speech. You have to follow what our opinion is, or what we believe in as a company.
In your own home.
But personal opinions, not company, what is it?
Company standards.
Standards,
yep.
or motto. What are they called? I forget what they're called. Those lines. Not a log line. I keep thinking log line.
Yeah.
It's not a log line. I forget what it's called, but there's
Tagline.
Something for their company, right? That's all company stuff. But for personal stuff, they're pushing their own personal beliefs on you as a company.
You must do this outside of the company.
Pay you.
Or we won't pay you. We will fire you. Dude, they just try to do that with any sort of idea that is against what we put out. You will be fired, and then you'll get blacklisted on every other place that you want to go. That's literally what they're doing. They tried doing it with Piers Morgan. They tried doing it with Sharon Osbourne, of course.
Yep.
Really?
Their
for Sharon Osbourne. Seriously?
Taking livelihood.
She literally, okay, so whether you agree with Piers Morgan or not, whatever he said, it's regardless of the fact. All right, what they're doing with Sharon Osbourne, people are trying to go, look, she's racist. What? Are you serious? Have you seen her show? It's been going on for, I don't know how many years now? No, I don't think so. And then she literally asked for examples, and now they're trying to get her fired for just asking for an example. And the knee-jerk reaction is oh, nope.
Well, she didn't fall in line.
You're not falling in line. Nope, not gonna listen. Can't hear you. Can't hear you over my wokeness. Don't want to hear you over my wokeness. It's the dumbest thing, man. You're screwing with people's lives. It's the dumbest thing out there in the world. And again, this goes back to euphemistic language. It goes back to dysphemistic language and how people talk about different things. She wasn't using dysphemistic language or a dysphemistic approach to it. She literally was asking for an example. Show me, dude. Hey, I respect your opinion. I don't know. I'm friends with the dude. She's like, I'm friends with the dude. I don't know for sure, for a fact. Show me an example of what he said that was, that was divided by race.
Well, he was showing off his burrito supremacy.
Yeah, his burrito his burrito supreme mentality. Give me an example of where that shows that, because if you can't, then you're wrong. Plain and simple. That's like that dude, the one kid, I think I mentioned it the other, was it last week?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it a couple times. Well, you're just racist against Mexicans, or I'm like, dude, I'm part Spanish. Oh yeah, well, you're not full blood. You literally made a racist statement, kid. Are you kidding me?
They don't think it's racist because they're colored.
Yep,
right?
that's euphemistic BS.
Because that you are this ethnicity, right? That you're not racist. And you're only racist if you're white and you make comments about that.
Yeah, sorry. Again, really, wind's picking up over here. Sorry, please continue what you were saying. I got totally distracted by that.
No, it's okay. I already said that. It's just basically you're only racist if you're white.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's dumb. It's the dumbest thing. You know, and I've said it once and I've said it again. You know, Martin Luther King's probably rolling over in his damn grave over how much, you know, people have refocused on it. And now they're trying to push this idea that whiteness goes beyond skin color. It's a mentality. It's an ideology. Okay. Well, if you do want to accept that, then that means you must accept the antecedent of that, which that blackness is also an ideology. And you pushing that sort of mentality and culture is also a form of racism. Like, you don't get it. It doesn't work on like it's not a one-way street. If you want to open up that sort of rhetoric for that, that's exactly what you're doing. Is you're highlighting race as an ideology. That's what that is. Highlighting race as an ideology. But you don't call it that, right? Dysphemism. Dysphemistic language. How do you make that not a race thing? Oh, no. It's social justice. That's how they get away with this stuff. This is how they elicit emotions to get you to respond to it. It's guys, it's not racism. It's social justice. It's equity. Racial equity. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about racism. No. But unless we're talking about them, the Burrito Supremes out there, then we're talking about that for sure. Right?
And if you don't fall in line, then you're also a Burrito Supreme.
Yeah, if you don't agree with it, all of a sudden you're Burrito Supreme, right? That's sheesh, man. It's just ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing. How people have gotten so far off kilter about this, it blows my mind. You know, unplug. Most people, there was a 45% drop in audience across the board for mainstream media. You know, and a lot of people are still, where are a lot of these people going to? YouTube. They're coming here to go talk, to listen to political commentators there. Why? Because it's very anti-establishment for one, and it fights against this whole narrative that they're trying to push with euphemistic and dysphemistic style of language.
Well, if you think about it, news and media, it's like controlled by like
the big six.
Yeah, and what their opinions are, what they're trying to push, right?
Was it like 95% of media is controlled by the big six?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know who the big six are, I recommend that you look them up. And I'm not talking. If you look up the big six, you'll probably go back 100 years in the film industry. And we've talked about this. We've done videos on this as well. And the big six were the big six studios, Hollywood studios, which had vertically integrated or monopolized the film industry from conception of an idea all the way through distribution. They didn't have to pay anybody. They didn't do anything, and they gave scraps to theaters, and the ones that suffered were theaters and indies, right? Because they own their own distribution platform at the time, which was theaters. Now, back then it was theaters. Nowadays, their distribution platform is streaming platforms. So whenever anybody ever talks about the streaming wars, they're literally talking about everybody on this mad rush to create streaming platforms to essentially monopolize the film industry. And if you don't believe me, you can look up to see and you can follow the money. Who owns what companies? Because it used to be there was a vast array of media companies that were spread out there, and then they started cannibalizing each other. All the big six, literally the big six now. It's actually probably the big five, because Viacom and CBS had remerged, I should say, because they separated, but now they remerged.
Paramount owns them, right? No.
Nope. Viacom, CBS. Yeah.
Vice
versa, right?
Yeah.
So they're owned by these companies, these massive conglomerates, these big corporations like that, and they control 95% of media. Right? So the big six or the big five, maybe we should call them the big five from here on out, so then we know the difference, because the big six was 100 years ago, where they vertically integrated. Now they're trying to push vertical integration to monopolize the industry again, underneath everybody's noses, and nobody's saying a thing about it.
It's because it's new media is what they consider it.
Yep.
They think that they can get away with it.
Yep. If you don't know what the new media loophole is, you can go through our videos on here. We do talk about it. There is even one that's specifically called the new media loophole. You can check that one out to understand what we're talking about. I thought
Is that a person or is that a
no
bird?
Oh, you remember? So it was what, like a couple months ago, and we're talking about getting my wife into helping us out, and you suggested it was late at night, and I was walking in your car, and you were talking about it, and you were like, oh well, maybe she can do social media, or what was it, like one of the accounts, and off in the distance you heard this duck or this goose like like, oh, just perfect timing for it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sorry, that totally threw me off. I forget where we're at. Oh, new media loophole. Yeah, so if you don't know what the new media loophole is, I suggest that you go watch that video. Again, it's one of ours. It's pretty easy to find. But yeah, the new media loophole, man. They own 95% of media that people consume. You know, and again, this is why they've lost 45. Like mainstream media outlets have lost about 45% of their audience because it's ridiculous. There's no talking points anymore. Mm-hmm. The Trump star has left the building, and they have nothing to talk about. So they focus on other woke topics and stuff like that for social justice. Again, using dysphemistic style language, euphemistic style language, to essentially dysphemistic style language to talk about themselves, to prop themselves up, to make it seem like they're non-offensive, but then using euphemistic style language to talk down on everybody else who happens to oppose them, even minimally. And again, that's radically dangerous grounds. Radically dangerous grounds. And it doesn't matter if you're, you could still be for equality, like real equality, and even real equity when it comes to certain subjects, without, utilizing euphemistic and dysphemistic language to make you sound like you're more appealing and they're more dehumanized. It's real simple. You just be real with people about it. Mm-hmm. But people don't want that. People are drawn to
the drama.
They're drawn to the drama. I think that was essentially how a lot of the algorithms on social media started to build up. Mm-hmm. Within the past few years, is they found out that I forget what the study was, but they found people gravitate more towards these buzzwords that are more negative than they were positive. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is why, especially on my social media, a lot of times I try to post memes. Not on Twitter, though, because Twitter's just toxic, pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
But, on other social media, I try to post, memes, just being sarcastic and trying to, bring out some humor for certain things. And then I'll throw in my opinion here and there. But for the most part, it's just memes, just to break up the monotony of that constant toxic sort of negativity or toxic mentality that just prevails throughout it, right? The for me and against me mentality, right? You're either for me or against me. There is no in between. Literally euphemistic and dysphemistic style language used for that, to describe that. And that's sad. That's absolutely sad. Because how are you, everyone was like, oh, now it's time for unity. Dude, they did that when Trump first got into office. Now is the time for unity. Now they're doing it with Biden when he's just getting into office. Yeah, now is the time for unity. So y'all are saying that, but you're not practicing it. It's dumb. That's again, I go back to Jim Carrey on that crap. Oh, guys, I can't in good faith promote fictional violence, even though it's not real. even though this is escapism and sensationalism and a form of entertainment and didn't actually happen, I cannot in good faith promote this. And then just renege on it. Oh, yeah, we're artists. We need to push the limit. She's fine. She did good.
Yeah.
That's stupid. It's massively stick to what you're good at. Stay out of the political landscape. Don't keep
that to your personal life.
Yeah, keep that to your personal life. You don't like a freaking president, fine. Whatever. But you don't have to become that mouthpiece, a political mouthpiece for these politicians to help push a narrative, that's that may or may not agree with millions of people across America. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you have to disdain and dehumanize every other person who or every person who disagrees with you. It's literally euphemistic language, right? But then you're gonna prop up people on your side with dysphemistic language. It's like, dude, the hypocrisy. It's literally a hypocritical move to try to save face. And if you're trying to save face for that, then maybe you don't belong in that sort of arena, because you can't separate reality and fiction. Just saying. Or you might be under contract here, which is even worse.
Yes.
You're gonna contract people to do that. That's the dumbest thing. I still think it's the dumbest thing. Anyways, what else we got? Because I get tired of talking politics. I know we do a lot. We do quite a bit of that on here, but I really just want to get back to doing film. Then you get stupid crap like this coming up, and you get
reviewing film,
former senators literally using the N-word, the Yahtzee word, for an actress. It's dumb. People trying to cancel her, or when they canceled Scarlett Johansson, I forget what film that she was doing, where she's playing she's supposed to play a transsexual man.
Oh.
And then the woke mob went after you're taking their job. No, fool, it's called acting.
I think she was one of the first to get a lot of backlash,
which sucks because
and I get
it. And it was a while ago. And I get her reneging on it because of how much backlash she got from it. But come on, it's called acting, fool. When you're pretending, it's literally pretending. When you're pretending to be an alien from outer space, you're not taking jobs away from aliens from outer space. Playing that role, that's stupid. No, that's stupid. It's dumb. When you have a voice actor, when you have freaking Benedict Cumberbatch playing Smog, and voicing over that, he's not stealing the job from a fictional freaking character.
How dare these non-serial killers play serial killers?
Yeah.
You gotta be a real serial killer to actually act as one.
Yeah. What? Are you that daft? Come on, man. You can't be that hard-headed. I guess maybe you can. But really? You have so much of an identity crisis that you're gonna go after an actor or actress portraying a fictional character you're stealing from them. Well, really? Wow. Just wow. We're gonna start the Justice for Hobbits. You didn't hire hobbits, real hobbits, so we're gonna cancel Lord of the Rings now.
Oh my goodness.
And The Hobbit.
I'm not gonna
cancel
like
Jackson.
Be canceled for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I know.
That.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm being facetious about it. It's but it's but the point still stands. You're literally, you got these people trying to get. I saw an article where they're trying to go, the supposed cancel culture. I'm like, really? You can literally see the results of it, based off of it, on countless occasions, everywhere you can see it. You can literally see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's alleged. Like, really? Oh, okay.
Let's deny.
I believe you, Mr. Big Five. Sure. Or is it Mrs. No, what's the woke version? Emmixon? Emmixon 5? Oh my gosh, because you can't say man, Mr. You can't say Mrs. You're assuming the genders. And they're diverse. They're the most woke. Okay. Okay. Like I said, I get really tired of talking about political stuff, but it is the forefront of what's going on in our industry right now. And it's good to be on the up and up of what's going on with it. I try not to delve too far into it, but again,
sometimes
from a
you
filmmaking,
have to though.
You're right.
When it involves like your work or things around you, then you kind of have to get into it to really sort out what you believe, right?
Yep, absolutely. And then being able to pick and choose and make up your own mind. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to cut off people. It doesn't mean you have to talk bad about people. It literally just means like, let's put it this way. If you and I are having a discussion about something, it's literally about understanding each other's point of view. If we have a disagreement with something, all right? That doesn't mean I hate you for it. That doesn't mean I'm like, gonna be like, oh, she's a Yahtzee, you know?
I'm a burrito supreme.
She's a burrito supreme, you know, because she's lighter skinned than I am. It's dumb. That means zero. It means absolute zero for that. So you can still disagree with somebody and still consider them a friend. In fact, that's what makes the world interesting, is people that disagree with you. If everybody agreed with each other, we'd be the Borg. Just, you know, like, and then it'd be a real cult. Everyone would be in a real cult. Everybody just agrees and says the same thing. We have no personality. We are just here to agree with our side. Resistance is futile. It's like seriously, man. This is literally going on right now. The lines between fiction and reality have become blurred, and we need to root ourselves and ground ourselves in reality again. Unplug. Take a week. 1 week. I guarantee you. I know we can't because it's part of our work, but
I try.
I know, but I've done it before.
I've done like a couple months.
Even just take a weekend. Just do your weekends. No social media. No media. Unplug. Spend time with your friends and family. And time for yourself. Wind. There's lots of wind. I can tell that's. Yeah. That's causing a problem. Take time for yourself. Take time with your friends and family every weekend. If you work on the weekends, fine. Then take time whatever your weekend is, your days off. Unplug. Try it. Try it for 6 months. Try it for 3. I guarantee you can't do it. That's a challenge. That is definitely a challenge. I guarantee you cannot unplug for that long, even if it's just the weekends. And if you can, congratulations. You win the J. Hooligan Trophy of Achievement. I don't know what that is. And again, I've done it before, you know, because I literally did that even in high school when with everybody eating up the news and everything. I'm like, nope, I unplugged. I started reading a lot more. That's where I became like, I mean, I was already a bibliophile beforehand. I'd read a lot, but
yeah, I was more of a reader.
Yeah, at that point, because I would read more. Actually, I would read more fiction up until that point. Up until that point, it was all fiction, and then I started resourcing out and reading books when I unplugged from, mainstream media, which now includes social media. You know, So there's so much more out there, guys. I'm telling you, there's so much more out there for you and for everyone.
Learn something.
Create
new. Something.
Yeah, create something. Connect with people. If you could connect with people you disagree with and still be all right, dude, you're one step closer to coexistence. Like true peace, true coexistence cannot exist until everyone can disagree with each other and still be fine with it. I've been saying that since high school. That win though, yeah. But I've been saying it ever since then, and I still stand by it. You know, I think I've mentioned this before. Like 98% of the people I've talked with disagree with me. So what? And of those 98%, I would say 99% of those people, of the 98%, never ask me what my opinion is. I just listen and understand, and have a conversation from what they're trying to say. Because if I can understand them, you know, that's what it's about. You know, I think I've had like very, very few people. I always remember this one security guard I ended up talking to in school, and yeah,
I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, and he mentioned it because he was talking politics, and I literally said something to him. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And he stopped in the middle of what he was saying, and for the first time, he's like, you know what, that's what I really appreciate about you, is you're actually open to discussion, even if we disagree about stuff. And I was like, hey man, that's literally what communication is about. And I thought that was really cool that he did that. Mm-hmm. But it just being him being mindful of that, of my mindfulness, we connected, and it made for good conversation, All right, I think we're heading up on time over here. I know that's a very long discussion about more than just dysphemism, but again, dysphemism is that dumbing down of language to make it seem like it's non-offensive, taking something that's offensive to be non-offensive, like, oh, it's a child facility. But then euphemistic language is the opposite, where they make it seem like, oh, it's kids in cages, right? And you could literally go on Twitter if you do have a Twitter account and just read and just see what people are saying, and you'll see it. It flip flops all the time. During the Trump administration, sides flip flop. The kids in cages. No, they're that wasn't ours. That was but they're detention facilities. Actually, they weren't saying that during Trump's administration. They're saying that's not ours. We didn't do that. We didn't put it there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then now it's like flip flopped. It's like, oh no. Now it's your guys'. It's like no. They're just, what did you call them? Child facilities. That's what they are.
Child facility.
Come on, dude. It's euphemistic and dysphemistic language. Now that you have an idea about it, you can be on the lookout for it. Just being vigilant, being hyper aware of certain things or mindful of certain things. If you notice it earlier and more regularly, you're less likely to fall for it. You're less likely to have that knee-jerk emotional reaction that's going to get you to just propagate. It's gonna get you to stop propagating toxicity. Just like plain and simple. Okay. All right. So again, if you guys like these videos, you got anything else to add on here? No. But anything that we're working on, we can end on that.
Oh my goodness.
There's lots of things we're working on.
Breaking down a feature film right now, and I think it's my first feature film breaking down.
Really? I thought you've done one before.
Have I done one before? I can forget. It's been a while. Anyways, it's been a while.
So you're back to breaking down.
I'm back to breaking down a feature film right now, and I'm just like so excited about it. But yeah, I realize it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yep. And then we've also got teams working on a new short, new team that we're working on, but people that we've been close friends with, and created a good, really cool business group with for a while. It's been like at least a couple of years. Just knowing these dudes, so we're finally gonna be doing something together, see if we can work together. And then what else? Also working on editing a couple shorts. A couple short films, just trying to get those out. You're working on a cool poster, a one sheet. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. On top of that, we're trying to stick with our live lunches. Hopefully, if you guys like that, again, hit the subscribe button down here. You can like, share, spread the word, about what you guys are learning about the Big Five. I'm gonna call them the Big Five from now on. And then about euphemistic language, dysphemistic language, the chemical medley of emotions, how we react, how it's built into us, then that lower brain, higher brain function, all these things we talk about here. More wind. My allergies are going to suffer later, I swear. Yes. I did pretty good today. I think it was okay. Anyways, but yeah, you can subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to support us, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/HideHooliganFilms, or you can go to thewanderingkillsman.com/shop and buy one of our RPG IRL shirts or any of our Wandering Killsman merch that we have going out there. The Wandering Killsman himself is about to head out on the third leg of the Triple Crown of hikes, and less than 500 people in history have officially completed that. So he will be one of those significant few who have actually completed it. Again, officially completed it by the end of this year. So he's getting ready to take off for that. So not just supporting us, but that would support him as well. So yeah.
We'll see you guys Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see you guys Thursday. Have a great week. Stay warm and less allergic.
All right. We'll see you guys later.